Hello, I'm Valerie Priester, and this is the Business by Design podcast. Are you a woman entrepreneur who absolutely loves what you do and enjoy helping others, but for some reason you can't seem to get out of your own way? You can't seem to get out of your head and really create the level of success that you desire? I get it. I truly understand. I've been there too. You see, I spent years searching for, what do they call it? The holy grail, the secret sauce, right? To success. And what I learned along the way is all of the women that I knew that were very successful had one thing in common, and that was their way of thinking. Now, I know you may be saying it can't be that simple, can't be that easy, right? But the truth is, the number one key or secret, however you want to label it, to success is your way of thinking. It's your mindset. It's what you believe and what you think is possible for you. And so that's exactly why I created this podcast. I want to help you get out of your head, get out of your own way. I want to help you get into more profits, more passion, and more power. I want to help you to shift away from old beliefs and release old ways of thinking, self-sabotaging conversations, and help you shift into new beliefs that support your goals and bring lasting success. I want to help you design your victory so you can create the business and life that you desire. So if you're ready for some real talk about how to do that, if you're ready to really make the shift and move into greater possibilities and greater success, you're in the right place. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another issue of Business by Design, or another episode, I should say. I am super duper excited. As you know, I've started to add guests every month to Business by Design because I just thought you guys were tired of hearing my voice. So I decided every month I'm going to have at least one new guest, and I'm excited to have today with me an amazing woman that I met, and we instantly connected because there's something about connection and collaboration and the vibes that you get when you meet people. And when I met her, it was just like her energy just popped off the screen, right? We met virtually, which goes to show that it doesn't matter how you meet. What matters is that you connect, right? So today I'm super excited to have with me Dr. Delphina Avila. Welcome, welcome. So let me tell you a little bit about her. I'm going to let her tell a lot about herself, but let me tell you a little bit about her. So Dr. Delphina Joy, Joyce is her middle name, but I'll let her explain the name thing. But we're gonna call her Joy because I love that part about her. Um, she is the messenger of joy. Oh, that's so juicy. The messenger of joy and the president of Joy Options You Choose Joy, right? As a speaker and leadership expert, she brings over 30 years of experience guiding change in education, leadership, and wellness. Dr. Avina um, uses her personal journey as a cancer survivor to inspire resilience and self leadership in others. Through her joy mindset, we're going to talk a lot about that, her joy mindset approach, Dr. Avila empowers individuals to lead authentically and with purpose. She equips leaders with practical strategies to foster emotional wellness, enhance resilience, and embrace personal growth. Her work focuses on creating inclusive environments and helping organizations build values driven, resilient leaders. Dr. Avila is also the creator of the Joy Leadership Framework and Joy Mindset Competency Quadrant, tools designed to help leaders thrive in today's fast paced world. Her Shine with Joy message emphasizes service, honoring journeys, inspiring greatness, navigating with wisdom, and empowering others. Um, she is a passionate advocate for diverse leadership, and she serves on several boards, and she is a member of, is it ALAS and
Mm-hmm.
Azelas? Okay.
Hmm.
She is committed to advancing emotional wellness and leadership development through her coaching, workshops, and speaking engagements. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to start like the very first question is tell us about your name because that is
Oh,
inspiring to me.
yeah. Well, thank you, Valerie. I appreciate having the opportunity to come on. And as you can see, my logo just disappeared here now. So here I am, full force.
We're all in our natural. That's
I'm
okay.
I'm all here, you know.
There you
This is my
go.
office. Welcome. Welcome everyone to our sacred space.
There you go.
So I'll tell you a little bit about my name and thank you for as I was listening to your bio, I'm like, wow, that's a pretty awesome lady there.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, like, the way the description and the bio and all that, like when it comes out and you hear it from another person, it's like when someone looks you in the eye and they just tell you like they see you, they really see
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
And that is just a huge blessing. So for me, Valerie, I received my calling back in, I believe, about 2006. So
Okay.
my name, Delphina, comes from the Oracle of Delphi in Greece, where divine messages were delivered. Now, I didn't know that back in the day. I learned that in a revelation. And my middle name, Joyce, means joy. So my name literally means messenger of joy.
I
And
so love that.
I learned it. I learned it it was a revelation. It was a
Yeah.
dream. And so for me, I prayed about it and I was like, okay, well, if I'm messenger of joy, what does joy mean? you know? And I received the message, joy means journey, options, you choose. And it's all about your free will.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's a gift. It's something that
yeah.
we have from birth. We are born with free will.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
that's my calling. I'm here to teach about free will, write about it, write about joy. What is joy
Yes.
and how it equates to our free will and ultimately how we self lead and how we show up in the world because we have the choice of how we're going to show up and what we're going to do. And that's where the development of the joy mindset came out.
I love it. I love it. Now you guys can see why we connected so well because we speak the same language. So I absolutely love this. So Joy, what led you, and I'm going to call you Joy because we decided on that, right? What led you to this sacred space in your life? Like, what was it that you recognized as the calling that started this journey?
Yeah. So ever since I was young, I was naturally a teacher. You as you're a kid, you play school, and next I'm in high school and I'm tutoring, and like these things just came naturally. They were my gifts, they were my talents, they were things that just came to me. And so in 2006, I've been in education for over 30 plus years. I started off as an educator, bilingual, and then I became a specialist. And then I worked at districts for programs and things like that. And so I was always in alignment with my talents and my strengths and my skills.
Right.
But I also knew that there was something else that I was being called to do, and
Mhm.
that the landscape where I was destined to be was growing. And
Mhm.
my divine, my higher power was training me and preparing me to be able to step into that. And so as the years passed, God just refined my skills and my talents. I have the gift of gab. Always have.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you said, like, you've always been the teacher, right? And so that's why I raised my hand. I'm like, oh, that's so me, right? I remember, like, lining my Barbie dolls up on the couch and teaching them. I don't know what I was teaching them because I was like 7 or 8 years old, but it had to be important, right?
Yes, yes,
So
for
I
sure,
get
for
it.
sure. Valerie, I want to share something that this was probably one of the most defining points in my life. So we talk about my calling as messenger of joy, and joy meaning journey options you choose and about your free will. So during that period when I learned what my name was, I went into doing that. I was doing joy coaching. This was, oh my goodness, 2006 or so.
Okay.
I was doing joy coaching. I was doing, prayer, energetic healing, different hypnotherapy, different
Right.
things like that during that time. And it was also during that time that I was really reflecting and praying on, like, okay, I want to be in alignment with what I'm called to do here on earth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I kept clarifying, like, what does joy mean? How do I serve at the highest purpose? And how do I make sure that I'm really doing what I need to be doing? And one of that meant getting the clarity and the understanding of the difference between happiness and joy. And happiness is a state of being. But joy, because it is your free will and it is eternal, it is not an emotion. It's more than that. It's the way that we show up in life. It's the understanding of our personal agency, if you will.
Right.
And so to understand that and get deeper into that, I had cancer. And with that thyroid cancer, I lost my thyroid. But what happened was during that experience and that chapter of my life, you know, the medical field, when they removed my thyroid, your body needs the
Mhm.
hormones that come
That it
from
produces.
that.
Yes.
Yes. If your body doesn't have it, your body's organs will naturally begin to shut down and you'll die. You'll physically die. And so at that time, when I had my thyroid removed, the medical professions were allowing my body to shut down and die. I wasn't receiving my level thyroxine, which is what I need. And so, because of that, my body was physically shutting down. And the reason that that was so important was because during those days, I was emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, spiritually, like just running down, right? But in those moments, I remember having it was like a nightmare or a dream or whatever it was, because I was going like in and out of life, waking up, going to sleep, waking up, because I just didn't have the energy. And I remember having this dream, and I was in a boxing um, arena. And I remember like fighting with the spirit of misery, the spirit of depression,
Mhm.
um, the spirit of like just fear. Because Valerie, I was never afraid to die. I'm still not afraid to die. But what I learned was I was afraid of losing my will to live. And that's what joy is about. It is about deciding with intention that I will live fully in this present moment. And there are so many people that exist. They just exist.
Yeah. That's it.
They don't will their power, their free will to live in the moment,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
be present, to enjoy my coffee, my tea, my cup, my
Yeah.
wow, I'm
Air.
awake, I'm alive, I can live, I'm here.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, so very true. Now, I feel all of that. I hear all of that. And then what I hear from others, right, who can't, I don't know if they can't understand it, or I don't know if they don't believe it, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I often say it's about a decision first.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the decision. When you make the decision,
Yes.
like you said, that I am going to live in this moment, I am going to be joyous in this moment, right? When I tell people that, sometimes they feel like, well, it can't just be just I decide to do that, right? But it is,
But it
right? It
is.
is that. Because here's the other side of that, and the other truth of that is that we also decide not to be joyous or
Yes.
not to be happy or not to be celebratory of what we have around us or grateful. We make that decision as well, right?
Yes. Yes, we
So
do.
so what do you say to it can't be that easy that I just decide?
I would say to that individual, why is that so? Why is it so? Why is it so that it cannot? And I would dig deeper and really understand, because people are showing up the best that they can in the mindset and in the frame that they can in that moment and in that now, right? And a person who could be what I call in the restricted mindset, they're in that space because they don't quite understand, or they meaning they don't have the knowledge,
Right.
or they don't have the tools, meaning the skills
Yes.
to understand. So for example, if I'm in the restricted mindset and my plane is late, right? So
Right.
I think my plane is late. Oh man, now I'm not going to make it to DC. I'm going to miss my meeting. Now that's going to cause a problem. And my mind just starts spinning, right? Of all these negative things that can be happening, right? Now
Yes.
that's my mind working. And at that point, I have a choice. Do I stop and interrupt this thought because this is part of my mindset and understand, wait a minute, I'm in the restricted mindset. I don't want to be here. I want to be in the joy mindset. Okay, I'm going to be grateful because I'm going to acknowledge that if my plane is late, there's purpose in this. There's reason in this. I don't know. Maybe it's because I need to talk to this person next to me as we wait
Yes.
for the plane, and ultimately this person is blah 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 blah. Right? Because for me, the love that we bring to this earth and the way we show up has impact. That's what quantum physics is all about.
Yes.
And so if we
Yes.
can acknowledge and recognize that we have the power to actually impact and influence the moment, then I would recognize that the moment I show up and I'm like,
How am I impacting around me?
whatever.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
the moment I show up and I'm like, hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? Right? Like I can energetically feel the difference in that.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so when an individual says to me, like, it's not that easy, you don't understand. You're not trying to work 9 to 5 to pay your bills because I got kids at home. I got things I got to do. I'm stressed. I'm overworked, right? All of these things are happening. And all I can do is empathize and understand and dig deeper. Because
Yes.
when we are a, a coach, a change maker, I am a joy success coach. I am the messenger of joy. My work is to help individuals to understand that they have joy, that they have free
Yes.
will, that they have personal agency. And the way I get there is by loving them, by seeing them,
Yeah. Where
and
they are. Right.
understanding them,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then allowing them to do their work. And the way that I allow them to do their work, because they got to want to do it, is by asking questions and exploration and curiosity.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. And it is about choice.
Mhm.
It really just boils down to what is the choice that you will make in every moment. In
Yep.
every moment. So I feel that you're much like myself in that when things happen, my automatic response is not the worst. My automatic response is not the, oh, this is happening to me and woe is me and blah 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 blah. My
Mhm.
automatic response is always, what's in this for me? What's the lesson? What is it that I am being shown in this moment? Right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
feel like that is part of the choice,
Hmm.
because if you decide to look at it from that perspective as opposed to what is happening to me and the woe is me and things are never working out for me and all those things, then that is also choice.
It
And
is.
that keeps you going down that same rabbit hole and that same trail of the negative thoughts and the negative beliefs and all of those things that we get tangled up in, that doesn't allow us to really live that joyous moment right now, no matter
It
what's going on.
exactly. Exactly. And that's free will. That's joy.
Yes.
You
Yes.
you you have the personal agency to show up in the moment, bitchy, unhappy, angry, and I'm not undermining that
Right.
we are emotional beings, because we are. We're humans. Um Loss is real.
Yes.
Emotions are real. Aches, pains, physical things that happen in our body are real. When I was going through cancer and I couldn't get from my bed to the bathroom on my own, that was real.
Real. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was difficult. That was hard. When I was going through the separation and the challenges and the changes and all these things, the way I felt was real. It was
Yes.
valid. But I also had a choice.
Mhm.
Okay, I am sad. I am lonely. I am whatever it is that I am in this moment. Now, what do I want to do with that?
Right. What's next? Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, this has happened. I have lost my job. I have been terminated. I am no longer a part of this organization. What do I want to do now?
Oh, that's right. That's
How
right.
am I going to be blessed by this? Because if this
Right.
door is closing, it is meant
There's
to
another one open.
close.
And there's another one opening. And it's better than that
Yes.
one. Absolutely.
Yes.
Every single time. I always say that we have 100% control
Mhm.
over how we respond.
We do.
That's the one thing that we have 100% control over. No matter the situation. As you said, grief is real, loss is real, the feelings that we're feeling, all the things are real. But what we have 100% control over is how we respond to
Yes. How am I going to handle this
it every time.
situation? And we can react like, and we're human. There have been moments,
Yes.
I'm driving, I'm like in my peace zone. I'm all relaxed. I got my music on. I'm happy. Things are going good. I'm driving. I'm on my way. Next thing you know, someone cuts me off and I'm like startled, right? Like I'm
Right.
startled and
Right.
I'm like, whoa, what happened there? I'm like, and all I could say to myself is like, chillax, be in
Yeah.
peace, bless
Yeah.
that person,
Yeah.
that you don't know what they're going through. And
Exactly.
I'm not saying that I'm like, oh, yay, bad
Right.
behavior. No,
Right.
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that everyone is operating how they're operating until they're operating differently.
Exactly. And they're operating with whatever knowledge or experience they have in the moment.
Yes.
Always. Always. I love this. I love you. I could talk to you all day. So,
Thank you. Valerie, you're in my mind, you're taking me to the place of the power of the brain,
yes. Yes.
neuroscience.
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
you know how the brain works. Like when we are, there's three parts in our brain, right? And we have the fight, the flight, and those different areas of where we're at. And so, if we are chronically stressed, then we are operating differently in our brain. We're flighting, like, I'm not going to make that call. I don't want to
Right.
make that call. We're
Right.
shutting down,
Hmm. Hmm. So
or
true.
we're fighting, right? So what we want is we want to be in the executive functioning of the brain. And to be in the executive functioning of the brain, we have to feel safe. It goes back to like the idea of Maslow, where we have,
Absolutely.
in order to have a sense of belonging, we have to have certain things taken care of. That's why when I think about it and I see people that are experiencing very difficult situations, whether it's homelessness or whether it's addiction or abuse or different types of experiences, they're probably operating in the part of their mind, whether it's the fight or the flight,
Right. Yeah.
because they
Absolutely.
don't have their basic needs being
Needs.
met.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And safety is definitely one of the most basic needs that we all need, right?
Mm-hmm.
As well as belonging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't
Mm-hmm.
have that, you're absolutely right. Then we're operating from fight or flight. We're
Mm-hmm.
always on defense, which also goes back to why we respond in the way that we respond when we're dealing in that state of fight or
Mm-hmm.
flight. We
Mm-hmm.
feel like we have to defend. We feel like we have to protect ourselves at all costs. And
Mm-hmm.
that causes us to respond from a place of not so much joy, but a
Mm-hmm.
place of, again, defense and fighting and surviving, trying to survive.
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
all of that
Mhm.
is so very true. I love that. So Joy, who do you work with mainly?
Who do I work with mainly? Women.
Yeah, kind of figured.
Women. You know, it's almost like I can see my younger self in some
Mm-hmm.
situations of
Mm-hmm.
women.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the studies are. I haven't researched it, but I've heard it again and again. Oftentimes you'll work with people who are like the younger you and result like your behaviors, your
Yes.
patterns, because you'll see that stuff, right?
Yes.
Or you'll work with someone who, when we talk about age, right? You'll work with someone who could be older than you, but you have gifts to give to them and they have gifts to give to you,
Exactly.
because there's the reciprocal opportunity to learn and grow from each other. So I always learn from people that I talk to. People are amazing.
They
They
are.
are amazing. And every time I do I don't do a whole lot of one-on-one coaching, but I have a few clients that I do one-on-one coaching with, because one-on-one coaching it's intense.
It's
It takes
intense.
a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time, right? And I love doing it because I walk away so impacted. But there are so many other things that I'm called to do, like writing, like workshops, like speaking engagements, things like that, that are, it's just God increasing the terrain so that the
Yeah.
message gets out there to the
Yes.
masses and more people, because right now we need it, right? We need it.
Absolutely. Oh, now more than ever. Now more than ever. So, having worked with women mainly, like that's your audience that you feel called to. I know that is for me. How do you feel about the difference in men and women and how we respond to a whole mindset shift, or the need for a mindset shift? Have you noticed there's a difference?
um there is, and I don't want to be stereotypical about gender things, but there are some interesting things that I have seen and learned from women. Women can multitask. They can, in their mind, they can access multiple memories, the emotions, the thoughts, and the things that go along with that. And they're quite flexible in analyzing and thinking, like, okay, could be. Men, and like I said, I don't want to do this is how it is, right?
Right.
Because that's like
Because
saying
it's
all
not.
Latinas are the same, which we're
Right.
not. We're
Because we're
unique, we're
not.
special, and we come from all over the world, kind of thing. We're, as humans, we're unique. We have our own imprint. We are chosen. We have our own names. There's nothing that we have our own cells. Everything,
Yes.
we're special.
Yes.
But some of the similarities, sometimes with men, they're really good at the analytical thought process, but developing the empathetic emotional understanding it's
Can
different.
be.
It's different.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's because generally women are can be uh, more aware of their emotions, more
Oh,
um,
natural. Natural.
yeah,
Because that's
like a
how we're built.
nurturer.
Yeah.
I can't,
Yeah.
because I've also met women that are like, I'm not a nurturer.
Right.
That is not in me.
Yeah, what goes
Like,
back to the
okay,
point where you said that,
because
yeah, we're all different. It does go
we
back to
are.
that point, but there are certain parts of us when we talk about male female, and again, not to stereotype, but when we talk about male female, there are certain parts of us that are created differently, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
respectfully so, that
yes,
we've been taught and we've been told from, probably, I know from my childhood, that we are the nurturers. We are the ones that want to care for everyone. We are the ones that want everyone to be happy. We want
yes,
everyone to feel good, right? And all of that. And typically, our male counterparts don't get into so much emotion. They
yes,
have feelings. Don't get me wrong. They do have feelings. They do care. They do want people to be happy, all of that. But they don't get so deep into the emotional side of it. So what
Yeah.
I found is how that shows up differently when we talk about mindset is that often we have to appeal to the male side from a logical place,
Uh-huh.
right? More
Uh-huh.
than the emotional space, because that to me is the way that they can receive it. It's all about kind of meeting people where they are, like you said, meeting them where they are and
100%.
respecting where they are, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that there's been just a slight difference in how women respond to it and then how men respond to this whole mindset thing.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And as the messenger of joy, and you, Valerie, in the work that you do, that's the gift that we have, because we are able to situationally understand that the
Yes.
message, I could be up here teaching 2 plus 2 and I'm doing an awesome job, but you're not learning it.
Right.
And if you're
Right.
not learning it, then I'm not doing my job.
Right.
And everybody, some people need, okay, to understand 2 plus 2, I need an actual object.
Exactly. To show
Show
you.
me
Just
one and one, put them together. This is two, right? Some
yeah.
people learn kinesthetically. Some
Yes.
people
That's
learn
right.
auditorily. So there's, when we work with individuals and we are guides and we are facilitating, I always take that into consideration. Who am I
Yeah.
sitting with? Who am I in the room with? Who am I blessed to be in this present with? And that is really, really important. There was something else I was going to talk to you when we talk about mindset and we talk about gender and we talk about differences in age, age and things like that. So one of the workshops, and I have lots of workshops, but one of the workshops that I do that is really had a strong impact is when we talk about societal expectations.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what happens is that individual, because that the beautiful thing about facilitating a workshop as messenger of joy is that the work is in the hands of the participant. And so as I say, like, bring up a moment where you were triggered in
Right.
any way, whether that was positive or negative, and I'll have specific questions that will guide individuals. And when we look at societal expectations or economics,
Yes.
it
Yes.
is such a beautiful place for individuals to dive in, be reflective, because then they can realize, like, at the end, when I end and I say, I now feel as if, I look in and I praise God because I get to see the
The shift.
transformation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get to
Yeah.
see people say, I
Yeah.
now feel as if I'm powerful.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
now feel as if I can show up as my full self
Right. Yeah.
authentically. Like that right there, the
Hmm.
acknowledgement, the awareness, the honesty, self honesty within oneself that I have power, that I
Yes.
have free
That
will and
makes
self
all the difference.
agency.
Yes. Oh yeah. Makes all the difference. And
Yes,
certainly lights you up.
yes,
Certainly
it
lights you
does.
up. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So the other question I had, um, explain why, if we talk about from a business perspective, right? Because I know you
Mhm.
work with some business owners as well. As we talk about from a business perspective, explain why you feel that both strategy and mindset are important.
Ooh, because everything starts in your mind.
Yeah.
And even your strategy comes from your mind. It
Right.
comes from your thought processes. That's what strategy is about. So if I am operating in, so let me give you an example in education, and I'll bring it to business, right?
Right.
So in education, there's something called the Pobrecito syndrome.
Okay.
And the Pobrecito syndrome, the research, and the Pobrecito syndrome is that me looking in as the educator believes that these students that I'm working with are coming from a place of lack,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
meaning they are coming to me and they haven't read enough. They don't have enough books in their home. They have, um, parents that work all day. They
Right.
have a lot. They don't have a lot of money, and so I am seeing them through the lens of lack.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And because of that, the way I am teaching them is at a lower level potentially, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that if they can't write a sentence, how could they possibly write an essay? I
Right.
still got to get the sentence figured out for them, right?
Right.
That's
Mhm.
that's the restricted mindset. In a business, when I left working for a local education agency, I went to work, my check went into my account every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
It was there, I showed up, I did my job, I got my check. When you are a business owner and you are an entrepreneur, you are still going to get paid, but you need to understand that your pay is connecting with people, believing that you have something to offer. And
Yes.
that's where your strategy comes in. Your mindset is, I do believe, the joy mindset, journey options you choose. I have the free will to believe I am the messenger of joy. I have the free will to believe that I am here to teach about joy. My strategy, I'm going to go to networking events, meet people. Why? Because if I'm at home in my office
Accomplishment.
and I don't meet people, I don't
Right.
talk to people,
Yeah.
how are people going to learn? That's like me showing up in an empty classroom.
Right. Right. There's no one there to listen. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
There's my
nice.
strategy,
I love that. I love that. I love how
you
you
know?
explain that. That's good. Yay. I could, like I said, could talk to you all day long. I could. So, a couple more questions. One, what is your favorite book?
My favorite. Okay, this is gonna sound, coming from this is something I do in a workshop too, like the Latina perspective. So
Okay.
I have a couple favorite books. One, my first
Okay.
favorite book is the Bible.
Okay.
And the Bible is my favorite book because people say we don't come with instructions. That may be true.
Right.
However, when I'm reading about Sarah and Abraham was protecting himself by saying that Sarah wasn't his wife, that got him in trouble.
Right.
That's not self honesty. That's not honesty. He was trying to protect himself. So there's a lot of stories about the human condition and things. And I love that because being in the place that I am, I'm working with humans.
Right.
And how am I going to be a better human? By learning from other
I learned.
humans. And
Absolutely.
humans are imperfect. So that's
Yes.
one. I also really love, and I wish I'm not in, I have a place where I have all my books, you know.
Okay. Okay.
I also like Ileana. I think that I wish I could bring. I want to step away, but I can't. She does a lot of books on just, it's the human again, and poetry about
Yeah.
life and
Okay.
things that happen. And she has a book like something about the day my soul woke up.
That
And
sounds interesting.
when I read that, I was like, "What? That's what happened to me."
Yeah. Oh, I
So I
love
love
that.
that
That
book.
sounds really interesting. You have to email me that.
Okay, I
You have to
will.
email me
And
that.
then this is where I say, like, as a Latina, we're taught, like, don't toot your own horn, don't blah, blah, blah. But I have to share this with you because I am not used to tooting my own horn. But this is one of my books, Awaken Joy.
I love that.
And the reason I'm sharing this is because, it was a labor of love. And
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of reading it
Good.
again,
Good.
right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes when I'm writing, like I'm just writing, and when I go back and I read it, I'm like, oh wow, that's important. Self honesty as a jewel is really important. And I was at an event. Today is Friday, so I was at an event Wednesday. I was at an event for a board. I'm on a board, Muhed, and we were having a paint and sip. And so I had a workshop, like, the weekend before that, and everybody's introducing, networking, blah, blah, blah. And we're about ready to sit down and do our paint and sip. And this gal stands up and she's like, wait, I want to say something. And she says, I want to say thank you, Dr. Joy. She's like,
Hmm.
I was at your workshop. I learned so much about me, not me, not Dr. Joy. She learned about
Right.
herself.
Herself.
And she
Yes.
said, and I am in the middle of your book and I love it. I am an ambassador of joy. And then she looks at the people there and she goes, and she didn't pay me to say this. This is the truth. And I was like just standing there in awe, right? Because when I write, I'm not thinking like, oh, I need 50 people to pay
Right.
to buy
Exactly.
this and this and that.
Exactly.
All I think is like, okay, God, you gave me a message. Help me get this out. I'll get it out. And then I let it go. Right. But at the end of the day, I have to pay my bills.
Right. Right.
I have to
Yeah.
still do these things, right? And so when you ask me, like, what is a book that you love? I love my book.
Your book. Yeah.
I'm reading it and I'm
Absolutely.
like, I need to
Wow,
apply
I
that
said
again.
that. You are brilliant. It just reminds and confirms that you already
Yeah,
know. So
yeah.
good. No, I love it. I
And
love
that's
it.
hard, Valerie. It is hard to like, for me, being ever since little, like, don't be seen, you
It's the
know.
conditioning. It's the
Yeah,
conditioning, right? And that's
yes,
part of what also I help women, deal with, because that conditioning is what keeps us from stepping into our full potential. It's what
it
keeps us from
does.
showing up fully how we are meant to be, because we have been conditioned that you don't show off, you don't brag, you don't do
Mhm.
these things. But if you don't, how will the world ever know who you really are? And it's not about bragging, but it's about showing and delivering the talents and the gifts that God has given you to deliver. It has nothing
Amen.
to do with bragging. It is
Amen.
sharing, right?
Yes, yes, thank you. And I do something, and I like actually have to listen to myself, like that
Yes.
messenger of joy self,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I do something that's about building your confidence, and it's rise with confianza. It's a framework, right? And in that framework, we talk about like, why is it that for me in this thing, like, why is it that women or
Yes.
Latina women or BIPOC, women that are colored, why would they struggle with confidence? Why, right? And looking deep and diving deep personally,
Yes.
like, why would I struggle? I'm a doctor. I
Yeah.
have the
And you
education.
still struggle with confidence.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have, I tell a story about this, but there, and I met someone who was at a supervisory level, some refused to call me doctor, refused, right? And one day I realized, like, my value is we, I respect you the moment I meet you,
Exactly. Exactly.
but there's also another value. You earn my respect. That's a totally different value.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
different, right?
Yeah.
And so what I had to learn was this individual who refused to call me doctor, it was because he never saw me as a doctor. He never saw me at his level because he was a
Right.
doctor as well, right? And
Mhm.
I always, out of my own upbringing and my own experience, always refer to this person as Dr. So and so,
Stuff.
always,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I learned was in order for this individual to see me and for us to be in the same sandbox, I had to see him as that person
Your
without
key.
his doctor.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
started calling him by his name, not doctor,
Yeah.
by his name. And the
Yeah.
moment I called him by his name, it was like a trigger. And he just looked at me like, whoa. And
Mhm.
I leveled the playing field.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does
Yes.
that have to do with people? Like, we have to understand, like, where are we losing our confidence? Because the moment I stand up and I say, I am Dr. Delphina Joy, you know what I'm doing? I am honoring my mom, my
Yes.
dad, my
Yes.
nana,
That's
my
right.
tata,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
those that have come before me,
That's
the
right.
times that my dad worked in the field for the Savoyas, the onion fields. Like, it is because of their work that I am here.
Get to be right where you are
Yes.
today.
And so if
Absolutely.
I choose to fail to acknowledge the
You
title, the
are.
work, who I am, I'm discrediting my family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Not okay.
devaluing your worth, right?
Yes.
Because you did work to get here.
Oh,
Right? This wasn't given. This wasn't an honorary anything. This you did the work. And
I,
as you said, you're standing on the shoulders of your ancestors. And when we don't acknowledge who we really are and
mhm,
how we got here, then
mhm.
we don't honor them, right? Because
Yes.
they went through a lot to get us where we are today.
Yeah.
A
That's
lot.
right.
Yeah.
And thank you for acknowledging that our ancestors paved way.
They paved the way. They paid
I
the
was
price,
thinking about
all of it.
So I was seeing, my dad, people sometimes don't understand, like, why, if you're Latina, why don't you speak Spanish or whatnot,
Right.
right? And I have this story about my dad when he was growing up in Phoenix, Arizona. he was not allowed to speak Spanish, because if he spoke Spanish, he got there was actually a paddle, and
Right,
he got
right.
punished and paddled for speaking Spanish. So you know what happened? He didn't teach his children how to speak Spanish because he wanted to protect his children.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that story and that understanding of like, why are we the way we are?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we
It
have
all matters.
protective measures. Yeah. That's the restrictive mindset,
Yes,
is
yes.
our way of protecting ourselves.
Ourselves. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure you know, as being an African American, right? My ancestors went through some of the same things, right?
Yes.
Not teaching
Yes.
children to read, right? Not teaching you certain things that they knew, but they knew if they taught you and if you used it, it would jeopardize your life.
Yes.
So we couldn't teach you those things. We couldn't share those things. And all of that is a part of our makeup and what brings us in this sacred space that we're in today to be able to show how everything is about a choice. Everything is about a decision, right? And we can hold on to the past of what was done to our ancestors, how it was done, all of, we can hold on to that and
Mm-hmm.
still have bitter feelings or angry feelings around that, but
Mm-hmm.
that does not serve nor does it honor what they went through in order for us to be in this space today,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Correct. And what about those that are coming after me? If
Yes.
I choose to not be the messenger, because I have the choice. I could
Yes.
say, you know what?
Yep.
I don't want this thing. I don't want to talk to people. I like being in my home. I like
Right.
staying right here, being safe. I don't want people to
Mhm.
look at me weird. I don't want to get any, like, that's normal, right? If I do that, imagine all the people that are not going to receive what I was called and given to give. So
Give
I
them.
have I have this fruit.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
I don't give this fruit, this individual who's had poverty, who's had divorce, who's had all these things, is operating in restricted mindset. And because I am choosing to not come and be messenger of joy, this person, I may have been their teacher, and because I've
Exactly.
chosen to be selfish and I've chosen to not step out of my own fear, my own discomfort, that
So
person
true.
may not receive what I was called to give them.
Very
And that's
true.
my choice. I can do that.
You
I
can do
have
that.
the
Yeah.
right to choose that I'm
Right.
not going to give any of this away.
That's right.
I can say, I'm not going to give any of this knowledge away. I'm not going to share what I learned. This is
Mhm.
mine.
Mhm. But that's the cost if you don't. That's the
Yes.
cost, right? And
Yes.
and that's what keeps me still going today in my business is that I always imagine the woman that is stuck, the
Mm-hmm.
woman that is fearful, the woman that doubts herself, the woman that doesn't have the confidence to step into what she is called to do, the woman
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have a voice
Mm-hmm.
because they choose not to exercise their
Mm-hmm.
voice,
Mm-hmm.
right? The woman that doesn't have the life that they desire, the business that they desire, the relationships that they desire.
Mm-hmm.
I envision that woman staying in that same stuck place, and it
Mm-hmm.
causes an ache in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what keeps me going and saying, no, I can't not share this
Mm-hmm.
because there are people that are waiting for us. And in fact, that was a line that one of my coaches years ago, business coach, I think she was the first business coach I had, said to me. And it has stuck with me all this time. Like, people are waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
waiting for your voice. They're waiting for
Mm-hmm.
you to share the
Mm-hmm.
gift and the talent that you have in order to encourage them and to show them and be the model for them
Mm-hmm.
that yes, you can have this too, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that is,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that
Mm-hmm.
is for you, right? And so that's our obligation to
Mm-hmm.
give back to our communities, to the world, and
Mm-hmm.
impact people in ways that can change their lives, which is exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly what.
and taking it even deeper, I really appreciate that you share that. And what I was thinking about, like, what if for me, Dr. Covarrubias, that was one of my mentors, and I remember her telling me, Avila, stop changing the slide deck, stop changing the PowerPoint. I remember her telling me, right? But she was the first Latina woman in a leadership position who saw me. And she was the first who chose to mentor me. And she taught me a lot just by being who she authentically was. What
Best
if
way.
she would have decided, like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to take her in as my first grade teacher. I'm not going to take her in as my assistant principal. Like, she had that choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh my God. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, we gotta wrap. But I want you to give me just a small word or words of wisdom for someone in a younger generation who is just starting their journey into leadership. What would be your words of wisdom?
I would first of all make sure that you understand joy is journey options you choose. It's your free will. And I would also say, love yourself by empowerment. The way we become empowered is through our learning, whether it's skills, knowledge, whatever it is, you have the power to empower yourself. It's your work. It's up to you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ah, you're amazing. And how can we connect with you?
I, well, I have my calendar on there, but at joyoptions.org, and I have it underneath my name. That's my website. And on my website, I have e-learning courses on there. I have my books on there. I have, workshops, just different things. It's all about where that person is and what they're looking for. I'm also on LinkedIn, Dr. Delphina JOY Avila. Woohoo, that's me.
I love it. I love
I'm
it. I
on
love it.
Facebook, all those social media handles. I'm out there and living my best life every day. I have to remind myself today's the best day of my life and every moment is getting better.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Joy, for being here. And we have to do this again because I just so enjoy talking with you. Like I said, I could talk to you all day long. I love the connection that we had instantly when we talked because I know, as I said, we speak the same language,
We
right?
do. We do. And thank you, Valerie. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for showing up every day. Thank you for showing up in your best self. Thank you for serving others. Thank you for continuing in this journey because at any moment you could have chosen differently, but you continue. And you've said, like, I do this because I know that if I am not here and delivering what I'm called to do, that person who is supposed to receive quote unquote my medicine, they're not going to receive it. So thank you. Thank you for being your best self, even in moments that are difficult, because we know we are human. So
Yes.
honored and appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you connect with Dr. Joy. Again, she is a joy to connect with. And remember, designing your victory is a choice, and you get to start today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Business by Design podcast. If you love what you're hearing each week, let me know by leaving a rating and a review. And don't forget to follow the show so you don't miss out on proven mindset techniques, strategies, and tools to help you design your victory and create the business and life you desire. Also, if you're ready to talk about the business and life that you really want, head on over to valeriepriester.com and schedule your private business breakthrough clarity call. Until next week, remember, designing your victory is a choice. Start today.